Hi, everyone. Welcome to DomainSherpa. Today is an episode of Down the Rabbit Hole where we're talking about NFTs with the Rabbit Hole Gang and hosted by your boy, Lincoln Aperaham. We have Drew, Shane, and Josh on the show, and today we talk about the Bored Ape Yacht Club hitting a new all-time high, the emergence of LooksRare as an NFT trading platform and competitor to OpenSea, the recent rash of issues leading to NFT owners losing valuable NFTs, and Shane also gives us an update on the Paradise Trippies project with a lot of exciting stuff happening there. All this and more is happening right now here on DomainSherpa, so come on and jump down the rabbit hole with the Rabbit Hole Gang. Let's go.
It don't matter what you say, there ain't no way that you messing with my team today. It don't matter what you do, I will not lose.
What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. It's your boy, Lincoln Aperaham, here hanging out on DomainSherpa, filling in for my boy JT, who couldn't be here today. So I'm here holding it down with my team. And so we're doing something different. For those of you who are watching the show, as opposed to listening, you'd see I got my full AR filter, BAYC representing here on cam. So, this is a rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole show. So it's only appropriate that, I go full metaverse on y'all today. So anyway, welcome to the show. What's happening, y'all? Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host. This is the first time we're doing this, so this is kind of a little bit goofy, but it's still pretty cool. Everybody's looking at me like, yo, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is the move or not. But hey, anyway, let's go ahead. We got back by popular demand. We got my man to my right. We got my boy Sugar Shane Culture, aka Sugar Shane, aka Honey Shane, aka Mike Rowe, and now Trippy Shane, aka Trippy Shane. What's happening, man? It's been a minute. You've been busy.
I was gonna say a lot's happened since I actually adopted your name. Just went with it. There's like 30 people named Sugar Shane, but why not have one more?
Oh, man, that's what it is, dude.
Man, I messed up. You guys are all wearing your hoodies. I just got mine yesterday.
Pure chance. It's just the most comfortable thing we have. So
it really is. It's the best hoodie. It's such a good hoodie.
Such a good hoodie.
I've got mine on as well, if you could see past the metaverse, but but otherwise I just got my fur.
Boy, you look like you're not wearing much at all. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to see below the hips.
Yo, I can show you, but you don't want to. This is still a kid-friendly show. We like PG-13 up in here. But all right, man. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. Like I said, this is a Down the Rabbit Hole episode of DomainSherpa, where for those of you who know and who have been paying attention, our domain, all roads lead to domains, and in the reverse, our work in domains leads us down the rabbit hole in various topics and things all the time. And then obviously over the last year or so, we've always been involved digital assets, and that digital asset umbrella covers cryptocurrency, NFTs to some degree. Over the last year, NFTs have gone absolutely insane. And we are all in. We are way down the rabbit hole. And so that's what this show is going to focus on today. So just so all y'all know, if you're here to hear about NFTs, stay locked in, because that's what's good. All right, so with that, let's keep moving around the horn. I got my man 50 grand down to my lower right, my boy Andrew Rosner, aka Morpheus, aka the Dirk Diggler domain names, aka Bobley Swagger, the sniper, as our boy Timberland calls him. What's up, Drew? What's happening, man?
Yeah, man. What's up? Coming at you live with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
Just out here chilling in the metaverse with COVID. COVID invaded the metaverse.
Wow.
I don't even know how I got it because I never leave my cave, but I got it. That shit came in the house, probably through my kids.
Yeah.
And that's it. All good.
All right. Well, no doubt. Thankfully, as a bored ape, I don't get COVID. No apes have gotten COVID, but definitely
I actually don't think that's true. I think a bunch of gorillas in the zoo got COVID. Some tigers got COVID. Some lions got COVID. A polar bear got COVID.
Yeah. But I'm talking about actual bored apes, not about apes. You know what I mean? So
you don't get what you don't get tested for.
Okay. That's right.
Well, let's keep it moving, man. We're not turning this into a COVID down the COVID hole. All right, cool. And last but certainly not least, we got my boy below me. We got my boy Josh Reason, aka Harry Kane, aka Bjorn Borg, aka Super Ball. You know what I'm saying? First to buy, first to sell. What's happening, man? How you living?
What's up? Yeah, no, living good, locking it down with COVID here too. So just living the dream.
We dealt with it in the house as well about a week and a half ago. So, I will say, thankfully, it seems like the Omicron variant is not as severe, which is good, but disruptive and scary all the same. So, to everybody out there dealing with that stuff, stay strong, and it's we're all going through it in some form or fashion. So anyway, so again, that's my way to segue off of the whole COVID convo, and let's talk NFTs, because it's crazy. It's been a minute. We came off of the new year, and right now, I mean, things are crazier than ever. And let's kick it off with talking about all-time high for the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Right now, the floor is, what is the floor at this moment? Anybody? It was 116, 117?
I think it's 119. Is it 119?
118.6. I think there's a
Yeah.
Yeah,
bonnet
118.6, I think.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, right? So we've got the Super Bowl coming up. There's a lot of hype around that. We've got that possible ape coin coming. My boy Justin Bieber just aped in with his lonely bored ape this weekend for 500 ETH. And so yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, are we at the top? Is the irrational exuberance maxing out? What's going to happen? What's really good? Like, what's up?
Yeah, there's two things that drive this, right? So there's the ultimate flex, like how
117 is the floor right now.
17
in there. Is it a crazy eye?
No. Actually, it's quite interesting. It's a really strong floor. Like
the bonnets were the floor for a while.
Listen, you've got right now. Oh wait, hold up. Sorry, I didn't have the buy it now on.
You got
three diaper heads. No, you got three diaper heads.
You got three babies, one of which is crying.
Baby diaper heads. And
those are bonnets. Those are bonnets.
You got a service ape. You got a Guayabera closed-eyed ape. You get the strongest ape. You got a really nice, real clean 5-trait aquamarine background with the Hawaiian shirt on.
Yeah.
At 120. He's probably the first buyable ape.
What about that death bot? What about that death bot at 122? I think that's.
Oh yeah, scroll down. Yeah, but I mean, it's got the girl's hair and a beard.
Yeah, the beard.
You know what I'm saying? Like
the beard kind of ruins it. You're right. The beard.
Yeah, I mean, like you might. I don't know how you get down. You know what I'm saying? That's a little too much Eddie Murphy for me.
There's a beautiful
all
white
right.
sailor
Hey,
127. 127's got a beautiful all white sailor.
Oh yeah, and the one right after that, a 123, ripped shirt, nice smile.
Yeah, he's clean. Background. But you know what? That particular ape, I have no idea why, because I think he's pretty clean. I like him a lot. He's just chilling. You know what I'm saying? He's got that ripped shirt. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But he's been on the market forever. Like every time the floor moved up, that dude was on the floor every single time.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
10,000 pieces in the same ones.
That's how sellers actually hurt value of their apes, right? I mean, that ape is a cool ape, but the seller is just ruining him.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, so I think it's an interesting phenomenon when you get the floor that rises as fast as it has, right? So then does that create an opportunity then where, the traits are all now mispriced? Or is it because it's so high, it's hard to take this risk to say, you know what, I can get a, certain ape at 4 ETH beyond the floor, but now we're talking 140 ETH, or 130 ETH to try to grab something like that. But is that still the move? I mean, is there room to run?
It's very interesting. I mean, the floor is super messy, right? Because you've got things that would definitely these bonnet head, diaper head, whatever you want to call it. These guys are clearly floor apes, right? There's nothing special about them. They're just straight floor apes. I've never really understood why. I don't really like the service apes. Where it's got the matching sort of McDonald's, Burger King shirt and the visor, but I guess it's just because there's a lot of them. But those trade basically at the floor, even though they're like a trait match technically. But I never really understood why those always trade at the floor. This one's pretty clean, but I just don't like them. I actually like the mutants with the burger and the soda. That's kind of dope, but. It's a really messy thing because
4 plus 30 is the best it's been in a while. Like that's how I look at it. It's like floor plus 30 ETH to see what's in that range. And this has been the best you can get floor plus 30 I've seen in a long time. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
So yeah, exactly. You move up to, let's say, you move up past 125, and suddenly you've got some interesting apes. I mean, you've got Bored with Kazoo, right? I don't love the army green background, but Bored Kazoo is that's a super rare trait.
Yep.
Right. And you got 3D glasses, you got blue fur, you got the spinner beanie hat. You got a bunch with the baby blue background. You got the sailor hat with baby blue at 130. That dude is clean as hell.
The King's robe. The King's robe at 130.
I've never been a King's robe fan unless it's like a trade match. If you got this King's robe with the ivy leaf, the wreath, headband.
That's a full Caesar.
Dope.
Full Caesar, right?
Yeah,
there,
if you give me the full Caesar is where it's at.
Hey, but there's
the
an interesting
thing is with the King's robe is that although it kind of looks like you're wearing a dress, so people don't really love it, but the thing is, it's actually the rarest item of clothing, the King's robe.
Yeah. Really?
But so is the laurel.
It's not more rare than the. No, come on.
It's the rarest item of clothing.
Well, hey guys,
black
so real quick.
Oh yeah, apart from there's black suit,
admiral's coat. But you're right, it is very rare. It's the third rarest, which is disproportionate because it's basically the same as admiral's coat, and admiral's coat trades for like almost double.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a big Admiral's coat fan. I was looking at those, Drew. We were looking at those yesterday. The real quick, interesting dynamic to those. You guys are looking at what rarity tools. So LooksRare.
No, I'm actually not. But yeah,
I'm just looking at OS. I don't look at rarity tools anymore.
So what about Looks though? Are you checking at Looks to see what what's available there? Because I find myself
but
big shout out to Looks, by the way, because I've been using that platform a lot more recently, and I think for me, it's actually creating a dynamic where I go to both, and the reason I probably stay away from rarity tools is just the delay. By the time, if anything's moving in any kind of pace, by the time you click on something from rarity tools, it's already gone on OpenSea. But I think somebody needs to put together an aggregator where you actually can pull the floor from more than just one marketplace, because, Looks is now, staking a claim. Stake your Looks, staking a claim to a big chunk of the market, and I personally am a big fan. They just recently finally got the price, where you can sort by price, and which makes that much easier. That was a real pain in the neck for a minute, but considering the issues that OpenSea continues to have, it's nice to have an alternative, and one that I feel is really making moves. Also on the shout out side, I want to just shout out I want to shout out Crypto Novo for the AR filter. I meant to mention this at the opening, but big shout out to Crypto Novo and Best ARX or Best RX. Big shout out to them, man. They're doing it for real. So anyway, but yeah, so let's talk about Looks real quick too, because have you guys bought or sold anything on Looks yet?
No,
I haven't either. Yeah,
I just I did. I bought something, sold something. It's mad clean, So when I'm looking at the floor here, there's some interesting apes sitting here. You got this zombie eyes one with the pelt, which is kind of cool. 123. You got a sushi ape.
I always look at it like GoDaddy and all the other registrars. Like, there's definitely better out there. I want to say that GoDaddy's people are great to me. So this is nothing against everybody that works there. They're actually fine people. But obviously, Uniregistry at the time was way cleaner, way smoother.
Yeah.
But there's only so many places you can manage. Like, I'm just too unorganized to have 3 or 4 things going, like something here, something there, something there. And even if it's better, sometimes I stick to the old one just trying to keep all my eggs in one basket. So that's kind of where I'm at. That doesn't mean Looks isn't great. I do think Coinbase is be super interesting when it comes through and see what it looks like and how it works and who they bring and all that. That could eat everybody's lunch. So I'm not really picking teams. I'm just kind of going through the motions until we get a bunch of big players in there, not just two.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. I think the Coinbase thing is going to be, obviously it's going to be legit. But I also like the Looks function. I think the way they played it, as far as giving everybody Looks tokens, and then you can stake them. I've been staking my Looks, and and they keep
reward the users. That's an age-old way of building a business. absolutely fantastic. You know, and I don't try not to get caught. It's hard not to support your bag. You know, when you got a bag going, you support it. And I've been very open. I sold my looks off the bat. It was too much money to not take and put to something good. I left a lot of money on the table, but I support them. Like I support anybody that's doing the work, and they're definitely doing the work. I always have a problem with like the name. I don't even know where they're located. I know nothing about that place. Like I have no clue who they are, what they do, where they're from, like zero. But that doesn't necessarily matter, but it sure would make me feel a little more comfortable that there's some kind of accountability.
Well, yeah, but speaking of accountability, I mean, you talk about Broken Sea, and you know, I mean, it's like they're like, hey, we just keep taking all this money, but you know, we're working on it. Don't worry, we'll get back to your support tickets in 10 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or whatever it is.
I'll
Like,
tell a story, not to throw this off,
or never.
I bought a stolen ape that I didn't know about, or it's a mutant. I take that back. So the crazy part is I did it for a friend, somebody that I'm in a project with, and she wanted a mutant but didn't quite have the money, and she's a great person, and so I bought it for her and she'd get me back later. And so I bought it. Like 3 weeks later, a guy, you know, I'm totally doxxed, so if anybody needs to get me, they sure got me, calls me at the nursery. Hey, got a little problem, you bought my stolen ape. I'm like, no, there's no marker on this, there's no little exclamation, when do you do it? And he told me it's like 4 sales before I bought it, not just the previous, but like I don't know, September. And so I'm thinking, you know, US law, it's a little crazy. If I buy a stolen car, that car's going home. Like I'm not, and he's in Florida, so I was a little worried about it, but he's a really good guy and he's a lawyer, so he's taken it the proper way. And I can tell you that yes, the amounts that what OpenSea is going to pay is not always fair, but they didn't mark this ape as stolen for 3 months, which is a huge problem because nobody would ever trade it.
The exact same thing happened to one of my best friends, his girlfriend. I helped her get into it. She got an ape at 7 ETH back, you know, in June. I was actually out to dinner with her and her boyfriend, who literally one of my best friends. And, you know, I was telling them about how I was getting in this thing, and, you know, I helped her buy an ape, and we bought it on OpenSea, you know, all legit. And then whoops, a few weeks later, they marked that thing as
exactly. I got a nice big suspicious activity sitting in my account.
Reported
she can't do anything with it. And now it's just stuck, right? And it's like, you know, this is messed up, you know, like you guys didn't flag it. You didn't catch it. You let this thing trade. It was also the same thing. This ape traded twice before she bought it. She was the third transaction after it was stolen. They let the guy run away with the money, and now she's left holding an ape that they're putting, you know, and this is now what, 7 months later? And it's like, that's not okay. I told her she should file a lawsuit against OpenSea for damages.
So they have a procedure, and they've been very fair about.
Well, I don't know. She's contacted them 100 times, and they don't respond.
You have to do a legal letter, and how it's going to work is they're going to offer you floor, regardless of what the ape is. And if you don't like it, you can take it to arbitration. That's the terms of services. You can take it to an arbitrator. You can't take it to a court. Like you're not going to be able to go to
an arbitration clause in their T's and C's. Where are they based out of? Are they based in California?
Yeah, New York.
Oh, is it New York?
I don't know if they're a New York corporation.
I haven't actually looked at their terms. Well, I think it brings up an interesting question because I bought a crypto chick that had the reported, you know, but I bought it on Looks, and I ended up actually flipping it for a profit on Looks. Because I think it brings up a question too, because, you know, this thing was an issue that was months ago, right? So then, you know, at first I think I tweeted, I was like, yo, is this OpenSea trying to keep Looks from like taking their, and then I realized that was, you know, me kind of more like tweeting out of emotion. It wasn't actually accurate, right? So I walked it back a bit because I felt like it was a little unnecessary shade. But I do think that it brings up a bunch of interesting sort of questions, points, thoughts, you know, because number one, you know, this is all decentralized, right? So OpenSea technically is not the only, it's not like OpenSea is manufacturing the NFTs. They're being sold there and they can be bought and sold in other platforms as well. Then if you've got this situation about potentially stolen or compromised accounts, I think that they, the fact that they allow these accounts or these NFTs to remain marked months after these issues are first raised, it's like, I think it's a question of, do they have an obligation to try to get them sorted one way or the other quickly? Because kind of to y'all's point, it's your 3 sales later, and, and then it's a question of, okay. And then it's also a question of people who got their stuff stolen, right? Responsibility on the part of the original holder as to whether or not, what was the actual context of the situation or the facts that led to that, NFT being taken. You know what I mean? And
I mean, I'm sensitive to the situation with some of these people losing losing apes, and other NFTs because of this, loophole with the thing. But a lot of this does fall on the guy that lost the ape. Right? You know what I mean? It's like, you were trying to be cheap. You didn't want to pay the gas. That's on you. You did something stupid and somebody stole your ape, and now I got it the ape. That's on you. This is kind of the ethos of Web3. This is the ethos of crypto. It's like, you want to have your own money. You want to be your own bank, right? That's the mantra. Well, if you're your own bank, you're responsible, right? Be responsible for your money. Be responsible for your shit. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm very, very happy to take full responsibility for the things I own, the things I do, the things, everything around me, I'm responsible for. If something gets fucked up in that little universe, that's on me. Now, I do think that it's ridiculous for OpenSea to not be proactive about this. I do think it's ridiculous for them to have raised as much money as they have, to have increased their headcount as much as they have, and to literally just not even be responding to fucking, service tickets, help desk tickets, whatever. Like that, there's no excuse for. But I do think that a healthy serving of just personal responsibility is needed in this space, because I think you got a lot of GM. Everything is rainbows and butterflies, but rainbows and butterflies don't put, food on the table. It's like, you got to take responsibility for your shit. You got to understand that this is all a business, and you want to play in Web3. You want to take responsibility, be your own bank, have property rights. Well, the basis of property rights is sovereignism and self-responsibility.
Spoken like a true Bitcoin maximalist. And, but I think, like, look, I share some of what you're saying. I think it's a little bit, I wouldn't go that far to say that, because you've got people that come in and they, and they're getting taken advantage of. It's like, it's like old people getting an email, like a phishing email, right? And then they click on the thing and they send money because they think their, their nephew or their grandkid is like stuck somewhere, and like, they wire money or some otherwise, get their computer hacked and things like, people are taking advantage of certain situations in a way that, they are truly engaging in criminal activity, right? So the problem that you have, though, is that now it's this global economy. Web3 is truly spans the entire world. So, you've got people operating in places that don't have the same sort of laws, and they're not held to the same sort of standards, So, you've got people that are clearly, like the worst of the worst. Like, people who are scamming people to steal their apes and then resell them are literally the fucking scum. You know what I'm saying? Because they're literally stealing stuff from people to then, like, that. There's nothing okay about that. And in no sense of anything should that put the blame necessarily on the people whose stuff got
hold
taken.
on.
You know what I'm saying?
What are we talking about? Are we talking about straight up fraud, or are we talking about the loophole where people send shit back to an old wallet that had
and I think, and that's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
In my opinion, as somebody who is, I'm a real fucking true libertarian, not the, I like to talk about being libertarian over coffee. Like, I kind of believe that that's on, OpenSea, different set of responsibilities. That's super fucked up. They haven't addressed this yet in a meaningful way. But this is not, that's not theft. It's called arbitrage. You know what
I think
saying?
It's a fair point.
This is literally being done at 1 million X scale in the financial markets all day, every day. Oh, you all think you're fucking cute because you signed up on Robinhood because they don't have fucking brokerage fees? Oh, you signed up on Facebook because it's free and you connected with all your friends around the world and shared information and it was all free? No, you're an idiot. You're an idiot, plain and simple. You didn't understand that you are the price, right? It's like, okay, you're using OpenSea and like you decided to go out and buy 6-figure NFTs without understanding how blockchain works. You decided to like I don't know. I'm
The only thing
a
I'll say
little
is
bit empathetic towards it, but
Yeah, no,
I don't
we
know.
get it.
Like
We
you
get
got
it.
The problem
cute.
is,
You
the
got
problem
cute. You
is,
tried to send
Yeah,
this to another wallet to avoid paying gas fees. Like I don't know. I don't know what to tell
Guys,
you. I don't feel bad.
the people in the NFT space right now, a large majority of them are not very smart. It's just the truth. They're not very smart. I mean, there's just
Yo.
facts. There's a lot of them that are just not smart people. And
But hold on, zoom out for a second. Show me which space other than like astrophysics does contain a lot of smart people.
exactly. But
Because,
this is the point.
like,
But this is
Go
the
on
point.
Robinhood. There's like 0.01% of the people on Robinhood that have a brain in their head.
But
They
this
know
is
how to
this,
trade
this
a
is the
financial
whole.
market.
We're
This is
never
the
gonna
whole
You know what I'm
publish
point.
this
saying?
show, by the way.
This is the
Can
whole
I
point.
insert the,
This is why
Homer Simpson
This is
walking
why
in the
Web
bushes
three and
thing?
decentralization. This is
Guys.
why Web three and decentralization are so kind of weird. Like it's funny to me because the people asking for decentralization and talking about Web three are some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet, and they need centralization. Otherwise, they get fucked. It's just
They're
like,
literally the reason that we have centralization. They're the reason we have like a nanny government, right? Is because most people can't take responsibility for themselves.
No, we don't
And
want
they shouldn't.
decentralization. No way.
No.
I can't protect my house in decentralization. No.
no.
I want
All right,
decentralization.
all right. So hey. So let's close up this and
But
move
I
on.
don't encourage it for most people.
Let's
'Cause I think-
reset the room.
Yeah, let's reset.
the
Let's
room.
reset the yacht club real quick because I think it's important to be clear, right? People who are getting their shit stolen and being defrauded are being taken
hold on.
advantage
Let's
of.
get it clear though. It's not getting stolen. If you transfer your ape back to
No,
an
no, no.
old
I get it. You're
wallet
talking
where
about
you
the exploit.
literally-
Yes, yes.
You,
Yeah.
you listed it for sale.
No, I get
you
it.
listed it for sale.
Real
so
fast.
You transferred it
I
back
hear
to
you.
your thing and it sold for less than what the market was. That's not theft. It's
I get it.
opportunity cost as the result of stupidity.
No.
Someone
I get
tried
you.
to scam me yesterday on NFT Trader, like literally yesterday.
That is theft. That's different. This is a different
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, all right,
Different
so-
topics.
Right. I think we can all agree that where people are getting their shit legitimately defrauded and stolen, that's some bullshit. It's criminal. And unfortunately, I don't know
100%.
how you fix that though, except for, you have to come up with ways. And this is where, I read an interesting article recently talking about how this sort of next phase of Web3, we're not diving right into full Web3. You've got this combination of Web2, Web3, and a lot of the sort of success and where we're going to sort of exist for a while is in this messy middle, right? Of trying to incorporate Web3 principles and Web3 elements into Web2, and so, it's hard because, people that are getting their stuff taken, they're clicking on a bad link. They're trying to do a deal. Maybe it seems too good to be true. Maybe it's a fair deal. Either way, they're being taken advantage of. How you prevent that maybe is some personal responsibility, education. Is there something that the platforms and the different tools and things can do? Big shout out to a lot of people in the community because, Tropo Farmer, I saw him posting a lot of shit the other day, explaining to people even around the OpenSea exploit, like just kind of like get people aware so they understand here's how you can help to prevent your, so like to your point, Drew, whether or not people when they came in bought assets that were worth $100,000 now have assets worth $100,000, right? So you have to start taking that more seriously to the extent that this starts to matter a lot more. And everybody's got to take personal responsibility, absolutely. And then, but then all of a sudden, people are finding themselves in situations where technology they don't fully understand, that's moving quickly too. So there are aspects of it that are hard to necessarily fully get if you don't get it. And then, even just getting to a cold wallet is a process, right? Now, all of a sudden you're claiming tokens or you're staking coins, to get some other benefit and to participate and do the things that are part of all of this stuff. There's not exactly a guidebook or an easy way. Now, real quick about the OpenSea exploit. I think that I would agree with you about the point that people who transferred away to avoid having to pay fees to cancel their listings. My bigger issue though, is the fact that when they move it back to the wallet, OpenSea wasn't even showing that the accounts had open listings, right? So it's like, it's one thing that saying, okay, you try to avoid it, then you came back and you kind of got stuck, being too cute. Totally get it. But the platform that you're relying on to utilize for this thing, where you put the listing up in the first place, isn't even showing that you have an existing listing. And then when they
Ultimately, though, OpenSea is just a viewer, right?
No,
It's just
I know.
expressing what is on the blockchain.
Except that
And-
you do initiate your listings through OpenSea, through the platform,
They're
right?
the
So when you do
marketplace.
that,
I'm not
so
saying
their
listen,
obligation, and that's
OpenSea
why they're
has.
yeah, that's why they're reimbursing people or helping to get people at least close to whole, because they do recognize that they kind of screwed up. And when they gave guidance to, hey, here's how you delete your old listings, they actually screwed it up in a way that notified some of these like floor scrapers and even the people that are trying to take advantage of those old listings. I take issue with them. I think those people are fucking assholes personally, because I think, you know, they're not just trying to get a good business deal. They're trying to literally take advantage of a fucking glitch to their own benefit.
Hold on.
And
I agree.
Web3
They
maxis,
might be assholes. That's a different topic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's a lot of assholes in our domain business. Many of them are very successful. The thing is like, that's not crime, though. That's not theft. And I do take a problem with people saying that that's, you know, my ape was stolen. Your ape wasn't stolen. This is not theft. In fact, that person, all they did was what's called arbitrage. There is no theft. There's no fraud. There's no theft. They took advantage of a loophole, of an exploit in OpenSea. I think it's actually even a bit too much to call it an exploit, because it's not actually an exploit. It's actually just the way the blockchain works, right? When you post something to the blockchain, it's there unless you literally go in and overwrite it with a new transaction, right? Unless you purposely cancel it.
Or it expires.
Or it's programmatic. It's programmatically expiring, right? But so when you create that listing, if you don't have a timer on it, then it is your obligation to understand that this isn't a centralized technology. This is decentralized. It is, or close to decentralized. And like when you put that on the blockchain, it's there forever until you take it away. So nobody, not even OpenSea, cannot remove that listing. They can't.
But
it's from your wallet. You signed it.
But they should show you that it exists and then give you a way to shut it off, since they allowed you to put it in there in the first place. That's all I'm saying.
No,
And that's why they
I
seem to be
that.
stepping up. But that's why it seems they're stepping up and doing the right thing and trying to fix those issues, you know? And you know, so yeah. All right. Well, look.
Don't you think it's funny that a lot of people want OpenSea to be like a centralized authority in all of this? It's like,
I know.
we want decentralization. We're Web3 maxis. OpenSea, help us. It's like,
I think that's, you know, this is why what I'm saying about the messy middle. I mean, the messy middle, and I forget who it was that where I saw it, but shout out to them. If I can find I'll credit them on the DomainSherpa page. Notes. But yeah, I just think it's one of those things where this has to exist in order to get mainstream adoption, right? Then it's got to work for a lot of people, right? And we talk about I mentioned the George Carlin skit a lot, where he's like, you think about how dumb the average person is, and that half the people are dumber than that, right? But I don't think that everybody needs to be a rocket scientist to be able to utilize blockchain and want to get into NFTs. I am more of the opinion, I think the more the merrier. I would love to see more people come in to understand the benefits of NFTs, the fun that can be had, the possible upside from a financial standpoint. But in order to do that, this isn't about calling people stupid or not. This is just saying some people just aren't sophisticated when it comes to certain technology. And in order to get mass adoption, you need to be able to have the tools to allow people to participate in a way that works for them, that they're not going to feel like they're getting scammed, or it's like so far above what they can do, you know, or what they're capable of, that they just don't even want to mess with it. They're like, all right, fine. If I'm too quote unquote, you can't see my air quotes because my arms don't move. But if I'm too quote unquote stupid to participate, then fine, I'm not going to participate. I'm of the opinion I want everyone to participate. I think this shit is a blast. Since we've stepped into the NFT space, it has been completely amazing, right? It has been so much fun. It is this intersection of art and culture and technology and finance and, you know, and all of these cool things in gaming, and, you know, and enable us to kind of even get back in touch with, you know, some of our roots and youth and all these kinds of things. And the shit is just fun when it's working well and when things are going good. The more the merrier, you know what I mean? That's why there does need to sort of be this way to onboard people, educate people, and, you know, hopefully have some tools to help prevent some of the bad actors from taking advantage of folks. So And I do think that people taking advantage of the OpenSea issue are bad actors to a degree. I don't think that shit is poor form to me. I think that's some bullshit. But I will say this, OpenSea is not the only show in town. So just because something is flagged on OpenSea and they don't allow it to be sold, I do think it impacts the value of an NFT. So the one thing I would recommend to folks is like, hey, if you're going to buy something on Looks, you might want to check to see what it looks like on OpenSea to see if it's flagged there. Because I think if you're spending thousands of dollars on a digital asset, you know, you want to make sure that there are no limitations on it that you're not aware of that might impact your ability to do something with it later on. So anyway, and that, you know, so that's my point. And I think we can wrap up this particular topic and move on. I think we all agree, look, generally speaking, the people that are committing actual fraud and theft are terrible. The people that are taking advantage of the exploit, we would agree, are probably not the best actors. Some might give them more leeway than others. And I think it's important for people to just take advantage of, you know, or pay attention to what they're doing. You know, the more that's at stake, the more that it matters, the more they got to pay attention, the more the people are going to try and take advantage of them. You know what I mean? So,
Yo, I just found that one of the best arbitrage opportunities I've seen between LooksRare and OpenSea.
all right.
On LooksRare right now, there is a tie-dye shirt party hat,
Oh yeah, I see him. Yeah.
super clean for 123.5.
Yeah.
And on OpenSea, the lowest is 242.
For which one? For the party hat or for the tie-dye?
Party hat. Tie-dye is 136, I think it was. Let me see.
7, 4, 8.
That is a serious arbitrage opportunity right there.
But here's the thing. I just looked
How
it up
much
on
is it?
OpenSea. Reported for suspicious
123 on
activity.
LooksRare.
But it's stolen.
Oh, is it really?
I just looked.
It's stolen.
This is a perfect example of what people should do as part of their process. I went to check it out on OpenSea, and it's reported for suspicious activity. And now, but here's the thing: what was reported for suspicious activity was the sale of this ape 2 months ago, right? And this is my other issue. It's like, okay, so if the account that got compromised was when this was sold for 49 ETH. Literally back December 1st, right? Here we are in February now, right? So at what point, you know, if you're OpenSea, it's like, you know, and keep in mind, you know, I've worked in, you know, with compliance teams and dealing with some of this kind of stuff and court orders and, you know, police subpoenas and everything like that, you know, so it becomes a question of what is their actual process when they deal with these claims because at some point, keeping it compromised is actually
what's
bad
their
for their own
end game?
business.
Yeah, what's the end game? Like, you're gonna just
I'm more
have all these
concerned that
apes that are
ape
sort
has
of.
a legal
We did our
license.
job. You can't blame us. That's their end game.
Yeah, they probably look at it like, hey, you know what? We'll mark as many apes as we have to for suspicious activity because them not marking them then leads to the further problem of later on when they, hey, why didn't you mark it? And damned if you do, damned if you don't.
When Shane buys it 3 months after receiving 11 letters saying that it's suspicious and still not marking it.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I mean, look, I'd give OpenSea a lot of shit because you know we've even been trying to have our own collection verified for however a couple
Man,
months
for
now.
100 ETH Delta, I'm almost ready to buy this shit and just
Yeah, I
sue
mean, the
OpenSea.
Trippies are almost
just for
at
the fun of
1,000
it.
ETH and we're still not verified.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, and it's not like we've gotten a response. We've sent tickets, you know, people know people.
Yeah.
We've reached out, like there's just crickets. You know what I mean? And so. You know, what about yesterday? When the cool pets came out, they literally fucking shut down the actual. There were a bunch of fake ones that popped up like almost immediately. They canceled the actual one and left the fake one to keep going. And people were like profiting off of the fake eggs when the real shit had gotten shut down by OpenSea by accident. It's like, what are y'all doing over there, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's Nate? Bring Nate back. He can front run as much shit as he wants. Just please put Nate back in the chair.
That's his bonus. He gets a front run.
You
That's
know,
his bonus.
I think let's turn this whole shit into a DAO. We can all vote on it, and we would all vote to bring Nate back. Like it would be overwhelmingly approved. But yeah, look, here's the thing, and the fact that there's a delta creates an opportunity that I think if you're willing to take on that risk, because this goes back to my point. Just because it's reported for suspicious activity. When you talk so this goes to what Shane was saying. Typically, U.S. law is like this: you buy a car that was stolen, the car is going back to the original owner, right?
But hold on, that is actually dependent on state law,
exactly,
right? And it's different.
Yeah,
and it's different in each state.
Yeah.
In the state of California, you have buyer. What is it called? Buyer of good faith for good value or something law, right? So let's say I buy something from Josh. I buy a domain name from Josh. I pay them 100 grand. You show up, you say, oh shit, this domain was stolen and you stole it from me. And let's say I bought, I don't know, xyz.com. Well, or let's say, jsq.com. Okay. So I paid 100 grand for jsq.com. That would be fair market value. I bought it without knowing it was stolen. Therefore, I'm a purchaser in good faith. I paid good consideration. Now, if I had paid $1,000 for it, then you could sue me and take the property back because I didn't pay fair market value for it, and I should have known that I was paying, an inconsistent consideration. Now, if I pay fair market value and you have no way of proving that I should have known that this was stolen property, then there's nothing you can do. Your only claim is against the person who stole it, and but I'm free and clear. I own that property free and clear.
Correct. Yeah. So that was going to be my point, right? Was that, the way that Shane had framed it, right, is the typical understanding of how those things work, but it varies by, literally what I was going to get into, it varies by state. It varies obviously by country, all of this kind of stuff. So, and then I think there's a very important distinction or, nuance to the way that OpenSea posts, like what they call it. They say reported for suspicious activity. They don't say this shit's stolen, They say just reported for suspicious activity. So then you start going back through the history and you're like, all right, well, it looks like, again, a full 2 months ago that it potentially was, this ape that was sold for a profit at the time, right? They bought it for 23, sold it for 49. You would argue that 49 was below floor back when this happened. But at the same time, it's like, what is their process then to ever, does it ever get cleared up? Do they not care? Maybe they don't. But I think that goes back to the point that what we're talking about is OpenSea is one platform of several where you can buy and sell NFTs, right? They are just the platform. They're literally just the tool to see it, to engage in certain activity, but they do not govern the NFTs themselves, right? So then it's that whole thing too, where it's like, all right, well, if this is going to hang out there forever, this ape is, I think it devalues the ape less and less over time when you just have one platform that is marking it as such. So then the question is, all right, do you then have to reach out to Looks and say, hey, Looks, 2 months ago, this happened. You now got to mark it on your platform. Coinbase, you got to mark it. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of interesting sort of things that play with these things as this stuff is happening that's going to get muddy and make it, but it could create either somebody being stuck with something they can't, that they, and
well, that's my case. So now I've got something that wasn't labeled suspicious that now is labeled suspicious, and it's gone from 10 ETH to whatever the floor of mutants. And I didn't do anything. Like, it was never labeled, I knew nothing. And so I'm kind of the victim here too. So that's why I'm on the legal side. Somebody owes me something. I'm stuck with a stolen item. So
yeah, no, I think it's
nobody wins.
Well, and I guess that becomes...
Well, so I guess that was my point when I said, what's the end game? It's like, well, this isn't going to help the original owner, right? This isn't helping them get their ape back. Yeah. And this thief already ran away with the money. So, like, who benefits here other than maybe OpenSea's covering their ass from a legal perspective? But, like, even so, I would actually almost argue they're opening themselves up from a legal perspective to a civil suit for damages. But, like, yeah, I don't know.
They're trying to avoid that. They're definitely paying out to avoid that.
Well, but they're also opening the door for that, right? It just takes somebody that's well-heeled that says, no, fuck you, I don't give a shit. I'm going to actually see this through and file a lawsuit against you.
What they should do is, here's what I would do if I was them, right? And this is just kind of my spitballing a little bit, but I would have a process that says, look, if something gets noted as suspicious, stolen, what have you, we'll mark it for some period of time. In that period of time, the original owner has the potential, the time to go file a police, like a police report, or a claim or what have you, and provide us with, documentation of the same or resolution of, or what, basically then has a certain window to come back and give them the official notice that the complaint was filed or the lawsuit or the, or a police report was filed, at which point they'll hold it for X amount of time until it's either resolved or something happens. Like, they need to establish whatever their timing is and how they're going to manage these on a pretty standard basis. Otherwise, because if they don't, then each one is going to be on a case by case basis. Then
they're just the front end, so they can't hold shit. That's the problem.
No, right? But by hold, I'm sorry. By hold, I mean they say we'll mark our platform that this is what we'll do. We'll mark the platform to say it's suspicious for some window in time. Because what they won't let you do, if you have something reported for suspicious activity, you actually can't sell it then on OpenSea. So it is locked in a way. It's locked on their platform.
Yeah.
This goes back to what I was saying, though. The more platforms that exist, the less that matters in the big scheme of things. Because for some folks, they're like, all right, I don't care that I can't sell it here. It's $100,000 in potential upside. And, you know, this is X amount of months that has passed. And in order to actually force whoever is going to be holding this ape to then do something with it, such as return it to the prior owner or some prior, you know, party, you know, would require a court order, perhaps, you know what I mean? Them to actually get sued in a judgment. I mean, this is where it gets really, really messy. And then it's a question of, okay, what is OpenSea's policy? OpenSea's policy should be, look, we'll mark it as suspicious upon being notified, only for a certain amount of time for us to be given more official notice. And then from there, they have to decide when.
I don't think LooksRare are going to even get involved in any of that. I don't think they're going to mark anything, and I think that they're going to take a big portion of the market share from OpenSea. So this conversation might end up being mute anyway.
I don't know. I mean, look, they
might need to do some rebranding, Drew. Maybe you can get in touch with them.
Yeah, right. I'm already on it. But here's the deal. I'm very glad LooksRare exists, because I think competition is critical for exactly what we're saying. It creates a check and balance. It forces OpenSea to maybe pay attention a little bit more, right? It creates a counterweight in the same way that Dan.com creates a counterweight to GoDaddy, right? But in the case of LooksRare, like, I just don't see. I don't see them taking a meaningful amount of market share away, right? Like,
I'm bullish. I'm bullish on Looks, but that's also
But look, dude, OpenSea is doing. They're literally doing every 15 minutes as much as LooksRare is doing per day.
Yeah, and don't take volume. Drop everything that has zero commission off of LooksRare. Like, don't
all the wash trading. Yeah.
Media Options is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, Media Options offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. Media Options believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
Let's talk about something important.
Yeah.
So, what y'all know about Hate Prime?
Hate Beast.
And that they haven't revealed in 2 weeks. That's what I know.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little bummed. I mean, I got a bunch of these things, and today was supposed to be the reveal day. And now they said, "Oh, we're pushing it back to Friday."
It takes a little while to sell out and then get the artist to make what you made what you sold. It takes a little while.
I mean, I'm feeling heavy. Look, here's the thing. I really dug like their initial stuff. I love the video that they got on the site. I think the art is pretty cool. But I'm feeling a little mechaversy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels.
Dude, I'm telling you, there is no way that they'd finish the art when they sold out that mint. There's just no way. It's just the playbook. It's the freaking playbook. Sell that shit out, make a shit ton of money, and then pay your artist to deliver. Pay a whole team once you sold out that many.
I mean, their secondary sales.
Well, okay, so fine. Look, even if that is the case, all right. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but like, let's say that you're exactly right. Let's say that's exactly what happened. Then, like, does it matter?
No, not really.
Right? As long as the art that comes out is dope, does it matter? Not really.
No, it doesn't make.
I don't think that timing. I don't think the timing is the issue. My problem is just the price action is very similar to Mecca. Where it's like you had this pre-reveal price that was like way high, and then it's just how.
If pre-reveal price keeps going up.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? 10 ETH right now?
Ape Prime? Yeah.
Almost 9.5.
Yeah, but I think that there's multiple elements to that as well. Although it is a pre-reveal price, I mean, everything is pumping like that right now. Everything that has a lot of influencer interest, right? And Ape Prime has a lot of influencer interest. So does Azuki. So does CloneX. And I mean, look at those three things right now. I mean,
But I
how
will
is
say,
how is
Azuki-
Azuki any different than Oniforce? That feels like the
Did you see
exact.
I tweeted that this morning? I have
You
no
did?
idea. Yeah, I literally tweeted that word for word. How
It's
is
like
Azuki
literally like
any
it's the
different
same
from
fucking
Oni?
project. I didn't like Oniforce. I was the only person.
answer-
I didn't buy any. I was like,
One
I saw that
person-
shit. I was like,
One
Yeah,
person,
I don't
one
know.
person wrote back. I gotta read this because it's just funny. He was like, he basically said he filled in the blanks with basically my bags, and it was like he right here.
it's different because I'm holding it.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what he said.
he said it's because my bag and I have full conviction on the kind of project that my bag is, and full trust that my bag team will deliver to the roadmap. And last but not least, the art of my bag is on another level.
Yo, I mean,
Alright.
yeah, you know, but I think all those projects, I mean, CloneX is doing its thing, you know, the Nike, you know,
Sold out my CloneX. No more CloneX. I sold out. I'm done.
you know,
Because
and
that's
I
also
think,
I just don't get down with the whole anime shit.
Well,
And there
at
was
least CloneX have a differentiating factor, and that's Nike for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
they're
the
Nike.
only reason I hung in there, I would have been sold out already, but I hung in there because of Nike. But like, I love that you're European. and saying
Nike.
It's like my wife. When my wife says Nike, I want to like scream. It's like
Nike, exactly.
Nike,
How do you,
get it
Shane,
right.
Shane, how do you say it?
I say Nike.
Yeah.
Americans say Nike for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I also don't see Adidas. I say Adidas. So,
Adidas.
Adidas.
I used to say Adidas, and then I started saying Adidas. But
I mean,
I
said
I
I
don't
used to
know.
call it Adidas
I'm
forever.
not-
Than,
I'm not as I don't you know I'm not as emotionally attached to either one. But Nike and Nike, that's like Nike just feels like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
Porsche and Porsche. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it.
Now Porsche, you got to say Porsche. That's
Oh,
Do
really?
you?
I say
yeah.
Porsche.
No.
I say Porsche.
You got to
all day.
own a Porsche. You got to own
Um,
a Porsche, not a Porsche.
Well,
See,
as somebody who doesn't own one, I say Porsche. So maybe that's why. Maybe
Well,
if I own
That's
one,
why
I'd
you
be-
don't own
I
one.
just-
When you
I
go to
just
the
use- I
dealership.
just say Porsches. It's much easier.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to deal with it.
Exactly. I wasn't sure, so I bought
I just
several.
bought a couple. So
So
check
yeah,
that
so
out.
I think look, I think Hape is like has done a great job of really tapping into the fashion and the culture elements, and the 3D is like sort of a natural evolution of what we saw, like kind of cyberkongs to bored apes to Hape, I think. And the fact that you do have a lot of influencer and sort of like, you know, almost like a celeb push. I know that, you know, so I think there's a lot of cool stuff about Hape. I guess my bigger thing is just looking at the pricing. It's like, can they maintain 10 ETH like right from the jump and go? And that just seems like a tall ask. But
And they dip post reveal to like
You want to
5.
know why I didn't buy
think?
any?
They
I can tell
did.
you.
They did post reveal.
Go ahead, Shane.
100%.
I'll
Gotcha.
tell you, I don't buy anybody whose accounts follow nobody. They follow one person. If they don't give a shit about the community or anybody else, then I'm out. Like
they follow me. Is that who they follow?
they don't follow. Yeah, exactly. You're the only one. No, I just like they don't have to follow everybody and be, you know, like the best friend to everybody. But all these accounts now are cool with just nothing, no response, no anything. Like either you like us or you don't, you're out. And look at like the Bored Ape. When they follow somebody, look how excited they get. Like, hey, guess who followed me? And they tweet.
But to be fair, until like a few weeks after the Bored Ape reveal, they didn't follow almost anybody.
I mean,
No, that's true.
for me personally, I prefer them follow nobody than just a few people. I get more annoyed
Yeah.
when they just follow a few people.
no,
I feel that's
agree.
annoying.
Yeah.
All right, so but hold up. Just because you got to pump the bag here a little something. You know what I'm saying? So we got the hate beast, right? I just want to say, I want to go out on a limb. I fundamentally, and I'm kind of like, when it comes to crypto, I'm basically a Bitcoin maximalist. I will dabble my toe in some other stuff. When I find something that I actually believe could do really well, I've said it. I'm like, I on this show, I called Solana at $12. You know, like I told people I started selling when it was like 220, 230, right? I was the only other project outside of Bitcoin that I think I've ever like not promoted, but like even publicly stated that I was getting involved in at all, right?
So are you calling hate
Outside,
beast?
so in the NFTs,
Here we go.
in the NFTs, Bored Ape Yacht Club was
He's
the
pushing his
only
track
shit-
record for this. This is
This
big.
is the only shit.
That's the hill you're gonna die on.
The only one that I've promoted at all that I said I was down with. I mean, you guys are the ones. You were on the show when I was telling you all that I thought even Bored Ape Yacht Club was a crock of shit. And then you finally convinced me to jump in. Credit to y'all. Thank you very much. My wife thanks you too. But what I will say is that this is the only other project that I've seen come along in the NFT space that I got equally as excited about as I did Bored Apes. And I will go out on a limb and say that I think that the art, assuming that the art that gets revealed is similar to the art in their promotion video, but assuming that that is true, then I think the art is the best of any NFT project that has been launched today. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So here's where I stand. I agree with what Josh is saying. I agree with what JT says. I do think that there's,
JT?
it's a little bit too much hype. Well, Lincoln Aperaham over there is saying that there's a little too much hype. The price went a little too far, too fast. I don't know what's going to happen post-reveal. It probably is going to dip. But for two reasons, I'm hanging in there. One is I just know if I go and sell these things that I'm going to end, the one I sold is going to end up being one of those obsidian beasts. And I'll be so pissed.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. And then number two is, I've been excited about this. I've been anticipating this mint. I missed the mint. I got it in the secondary. I didn't get them cheap. I paid basically 7.2, 7.5 on average. But I got to see it through. You got to see it through you make a plan. You got to see that plan through. You got to stick with the plan.
Drew is pushing all his chips to the middle of the table.
I don't own any, Drew. I don't own any, but I will buy the dip.
Buy the motherfucking dip. So Drew's pushing all his chips to the table. Josh is bringing the chips with the dip, and that's what's up. Hey, so talking about projects, Shane, man, we got you on here. It's been a minute. I don't think you have not been on since Trippies launched. Let's talk about Paradise Trippies, man, because I got a couple of Trippies.
Yeah.
What's the alpha on Trippies right now? Like, what's really good?
I can give you basically. It's a lot more work than you ever think. You guys know you've been on your own project.
Yeah.
I'm preaching to the choir here, but
yeah,
it sure sounds
but tell people because this is exactly the advice. Like when Siger used to have Adam Dicker on, telling everybody in the domain world, buy this shitty domain name and then develop it out into a fucking project and you'll make lots of money. I was out here like, no, bitch, don't develop anything. That's how you lose money. Don't develop anything. And I got caught up in the wave of, let's go build an NFT project. And don't get me wrong, it's been an amazing experience, amazing experiences, lots of learning. I can promise you, you ain't never going to catch me building an NFT project again. I'm never going to build a business again, ever.
All right, Drew, tell them how you really feel. But yeah, I mean, just to echo this and to kind of put a little bit of like guardrails on Drew's comments. I mean, yeah.
I want Shane to say exactly what he was going to say.
No, so
I'm just trying to emphasize everybody listen. Don't go build an NFT project.
Well, here's the thing. If you do, it's no different than building out a domain. It is a business. It has to be approached like a business. It has to be managed like a business. It has to be, the team has to be a team with everybody has a skill set. This isn't something where you just grab some friends and you're going to go throw out some artwork. People do that. You see the ones you see this cute little hard black line drawing and they sell out $1 million, or a girl in a bikini. That's fine. But the reality is the rest of us who don't have influence and are just trying to build a regular business, it's a bitch. I didn't know going in. I built a lot of businesses. It's different. It's just a different speed. It's a different, the personalities. I mean, Andy's a super smart guy, plenty of finances, but working with a team is different than being a domain investor. So when we're working together, it's like two brothers yelling at each other. Now we got to the end result, but man, there was some scratching and clawing and business, no different than any other business.
Yeah.
And so and just getting the art and the artist and getting them to agree and work with them, it's just a lot of work. And then when it's minted, that's when it starts. Like
That's just the start.
That's just to get you
It's
your
like
building built.
you remember Eat, Pray, Love?
Yeah.
In Eat, Pray, Love, she says, you know, having a baby is like getting a tattoo on your face. You better be real sure. It's like, you know, building an NFT project is like getting a tattoo on your face. You know, you better be real sure.
No,
yeah.
look,
So
man.
I mean, so Trippies has gone well. Everything that we hoped. Like, I hope people would collect them. I hope people would like the art. I hoped that we would continue on. And Andy's, you know, everybody's quit their job, not me. I'm just an advisor. We've kind of stepped back, and I just help from the business side. And we have our business meetings every week. But we had everybody else quit their jobs, and that's all they do. Like Tommy and John and all the people you've met at the domain conferences that were friends with Andy. They're full time. That's what they do for a living. They work for this business now, and I think that in the long run, and then having Bit Casino come on and say, we want in, we want to finance it, we want our the people that build this $1 billion in gaming, we want to help build the island, we want to advise you. You know, those are the kind of people that are already doing this metaverse, whatever you want to call it, the online business. They got a big jump on it. They know what going. So having that expertise is something that people take for granted. They think, oh, you're going to open a casino. Well, yeah, shit, there's 1 million casinos online. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody that knows gameplay and knows chance and knows their actions of all that. That's
the game
valuable.
theory
So
and almost tokenomics kind of
all
stuff.
that.
The bullishness for Trippies. This is how I see that playing out when I've spoken to Andy and kind of talked to James a little bit in our hip hop chat as well. It's like Trippies need to find a way to utilize the gaming portion that Bit Casino brings to the table. And I think that the natural progression there is that Trippies get tokens, or maybe they can stake for tokens that can be spent in Bit Casino. Yeah. And I think suddenly there you have something that's pretty unique, and something that people are pretty familiar with within the NFT space. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. I stake my Trippies. I get, you know, whatever casino tokens, and I can spend them in Bit Casino. So then you see Bit Casino start coming. You know, you see a Bit Casino get something from their investment in Trippies, and then you see the holders get something for their investment in Trippies. And I think that's the way that ecosystem grows.
Yeah, it's a good base. Absolutely a good base, and they've already started building out all the games. So it's fun to see your brand and character spinning around on a slot machine.
Yeah.
Again, that's not a huge thing, but it's fun to play that game, seeing the brand that you're building.
Yeah, and you say not a huge thing, but I think that stuff's the important stuff, because it's like, as you can make, you know, it's the little pieces that build to the big pieces. And obviously you've got big roadmap vision and things that need to be executed on, but those are the pieces that get you there, that, you know, build it all up. Like, I think that's super dope. Yeah, and I mean, we've dealt with sort of the same thing as far as like kind of this transition from the initial drop and project and kicking everything off, and then segueing into a functioning operating business that, you know, with the right people focused on the right things, spending the right amount of time to be able to deliver value to the token holders and keep driving down that path of the roadmap and everything else. You know what I mean? Especially because we're doing shit that, you know, kind of like Josh was saying about Trippies, with, you know, having the Bit Casino sort of play that gives you a unique, you know, thing to bring to the table. And like, we're doing a lot of shit that isn't really been done. And, you know, that's not easy to do. You know what I mean? And, you know, it takes time, money, effort, all that good stuff. But yeah, man, I think it's,
but unlike Drew, I'm stupid enough to do it again, because Joe Ruiz, the artist that you know, you guys have all had derivatives. He was doing something before Trippies. And I said, no, could you stop and help us in the art? Because we need an artist to, you know, we need 2 artists to do all this. So now he's got this new project, Toda. Yeah. And he is, I mean, I have to stop him from drawing like 5 million axes and like all this other stuff. It's
what's it? Tribes of the Aftermath or something?
Tribes of the Aftermath. He's had it in his mind. Like he sent me a sheet of what it was, and I was like, how long have you been thinking about this? He's like, since I'm 7, you know?
Yeah,
it's just,
I love it. I love the passion project stuff,
and,
you know, the aspects of that.
But it's so nice to have some experience about how you do this and to streamline it and to what you need to do and what you don't do, and again, a real business. And
I would
can't-
advise on other projects.
Yes,
I just
exactly.
don't want it to be my baby.
Yeah, I can't
That's it.
can't put in the time because it requires 60 hours a week. I have that times 3 already. That being said, to put together, I'm a good team builder, and I know now what it takes to make a good team. And so we have, well, you know, Sophie, maybe you've seen Sophie, who's done some of the animated stuff for James. She's a graphic designer. She's on it. And then another woman, graphic designer and artist manager as well. So it's half women. That's another experience that everybody you need to have women on your team, man. Like you need to have that perspective, and you need to have that thought pattern that we need to be put in check, basically. So
yeah, look, I think that, I think diversity in teams around, gender and everything else. I mean, it's important just to get different perspectives of people across the board for different things. I think it's a combination of having, a sort of broad group, but I think then also having the right skilled people in the right places, and then having a very clear vision on what you're trying to achieve. You know what I mean? I think for us, like, we kind of keep coming back around to, what our goals are, right? And the, the key, it's always, value back to the token holders, and then on another point, it's, it not revolutionize the music business, but how do we this is back to that messy middle, like how do we create something novel and unique that sort of fits in between, like in that between Web 2, Web 3, drive value back, whether it's through record sales and other things, create really cool, unique content. How do you leverage that? How do you build sort of, experiences and things through that, develop a fan base, develop processes to develop content, to monetize that content, to merchandise it, all those kinds of things. And then, all under this big umbrella of the community and everything else. And it's like, it's a balancing act, and it's a shitload of work. I think that's the thing, like without a doubt. And the space, I think, it also moves so quickly, and everyone's got such short memories, and it's like we break out a roadmap. And we're like, here's everything we're doing. And, a week later, everyone's like, all right, how come this shit's all not done yet?
The roadmap barely counts anymore anyway. Like the behind the Oz curtain pivots that are going behind the roadmap is, I mean, you try and give them an idea of what you're trying to do, but I'm glad nobody can see. Like there's so much that people don't know going on behind the scenes. All's well that ends well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. That's another reason too. It's like we've tried to also be careful, because you don't want to promise things that, and then you do have a pivot, and it's like, well, why didn't you do that? It's like, well, it really wasn't the right move for, the whole thing yet. It's like you have to be careful. So then it's like, well, why aren't you communicating everything you're doing and everything you're working on? It's like, because we're working on a fucking shitload of stuff. And it's like, and we can't necessarily tell you every single detail of everything we're working on because, some might work, some might not, but the intent and the spirit of all of it is driving it forward in a real positive way.
The community is going to make up what they want to hear anyway. Like it's like a commercial. You heard 20% off, but you just make up what's 20%. Like I'll say, hey, trees are 20% off, and they'll come in and go, hey, I heard all flowers are 20% off. Like, and it's no funny. Different than like, we went from talking about tokens one day to all of a sudden now the Trippies get one token drop per day. Like you get a token. I'm like, that tokens are coming, but I don't know where you're getting your drop. Like, how are you going to get the drop? We don't have a wallet. Like there's no, like, again, people, it's good that community supports you because they do the work. Honestly, the people that are buying your tokens and your NFTs are the people that really build it. You can say influencers kick it off. They're the ones who put the little gas on it. But the people that buy it, that talk about it, that are proud and tweet it, those are the drivers. Like without that, it doesn't go.
I mean, it's
very
like
long.
it's truly like a big broad team, across
and domain
the
investors
community.
are the best. Like I am not going to lie, the Trippies are the domain investors are the ones behind it, which we all never thought. Like I came in, I've told this story a million times, but when I was talking to Andy, I was like, as far as influence, I don't have any. The only people that really know me are like the middle to average domain investors, even the new ones that see me as the common working person. That's all I got. Well, it turns out that's a really good base, man. Those are people that really do
what I
job.
feel like is really cool is like, the domainers really came out for Trippies. I think, because, and it's funny because and not about anybody specifically, but, there was a general sentiment around some of the domain space when we first started talking about NFTs, which was like, guys, why are you doing this? So, you're wasting our time, and because of that, I think a lot of them missed out on some of the early rush in NFTs. But I think that, a project like Trippies that has a familiar face and familiar people involved that they know they can trust and they like, and, that it gives it, there's a legitimacy and a way to tie that in. So it kind of gave them an opportunity to run with that and like feel some of that, call it euphoria or camaraderie or just excitement, that enthusiasm that we had jumping in relatively early on the Bored Ape Yacht Club and things like that, and some of these early projects.
And that inspires the NFT creators too, because you don't want to let people down. Like your face, that's what having a docs team is all about. Like you are responsible. You have your name on it. If there's any issues, it comes right back to you. And that's why you'll hear me say, I don't feel as comfortable with people that aren't docs, because they don't have any responsibility. If let's just say LooksRare just blew up and took everybody's money, what happens? We don't know where to go. We don't know anything about it. They could disappear into the air. If I do something, I know exactly who's knocking on. They're going to show up at my door of my house and do that. So that's good or bad, but that's the reality.
Well, and I think that brings up because for me, it is the idea of being completely anonymous to me is really foreign, because we've never not been, like doxed, I guess, like in kind of most aspects of our lives in our online personas. So, the idea that you've got people that truly are just completely fucking anonymous is and that are held in certain regard and authority and things like that. And you don't know who they are, where they live, where they're from, what their deal is. Like, that just seems crazy to me. Like people literally are putting faith in JPEGs, what I'm saying? Like, oh, and that's how you know of them, And now they've had opportunities to show through their actions and activities who they are and what they're about. So it's like that does establish a certain amount of trust based on what they talk about, how they talk, how they speak.
That's exactly how a long con works too, though.
Oh, hey, look, man. And I think that's an
exactly how a long con works. You're Mr.
That's why, like I said,
man.
That's why for us, like being doxxed and who we are, it's always been kind of like there really's never been an
monkey.
There's never been an alternative.
Says the talking monkey. Good point. Good point.
On that note, I think we pretty much ran out of time, but man, no, all good. So, but real quick, next steps for Trippies, like the cosmic stuff, is that out? Is that like?
Yeah, it's coming out. I should know the date, the 11th, I think. If I get that wrong, but I think it's the 11th. And Rui did a fantastic job. I mean, Rui is just a great artist. We always, it's not about art, but there's something, good art still makes you smile. It's like a good art still exudes something in you. That's how we got with Bored Apes. Like that's where it all started, right? When we first did this, what's the first thing I said? I won't buy it unless it's worthy of hanging on my wall. You got to stick to that.
And by the way, I still stick to that mantra. I still stick to that mantra.
Yeah.
That's
Did you see that Yuga Labs distributed $1 million bonus to all of their artists at the end?
Yeah, I think that's all.
That was a little forced. The last couple of things, like I've heard the last couple of weeks that the artists got screwed. So that might have been a reaction more than a.
No, they said they paid the bonus out.
That was paid out before that article on Rolling Stone ever came out. The mainstream media is just a crock of shit across every spectrum. Whatever you want to talk about, any topic. They just take a slant, and it's like,
I agree.
Just chill the fuck out. It's like,
so hey, all right, cool.
Did the artist say thank you? And like, I didn't hear any artists. Like, I heard her, like the main artist, just within a month, just say.
He probably had to sign an NDA, and they probably these guys have been humble and have executed on everything they said they were going to do. They've every time an issue popped up, they couldn't have addressed it more professionally. I really think that team is just first.
They're the best team. They're the best team in the space by a country mile.
Down. Yeah, 100%.
Well, we've said this on our show a lot. I mean, I can't have more respect than I already do for Yuga because of how well they've just executed in a space where it's unclear. Like, there's no playbook. You know what I mean? And like, so it's not easy to be able to roll the punches, continue to do what they're doing, innovate the way they're innovating, being the leaders in this space, and to get where they are based on how they've done it. Like, it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of smart people. It takes a lot of good people. And like, I mean, there's leadership there. There's creativity. There's innovation. The way they've managed and handled their stuff. They've made great decisions. I mean, knock on wood.
Silence at the right time.
Honestly, that's why I struggle with just about any other project these days. It doesn't feel like I don't feel like they're capable when you compare them to Yuga Labs. It's just it's not on the same level. In my opinion, there's no other project that is on the same level. Not even close. Apart from Kongs, apart from Cyber Kongs, I think that they innovate, and I think that they are underappreciated. But yeah, I don't see it anywhere else.
Well, I think here's the thing. I think that's a hard standard to hold projects to say, hey, you guys should be literally, multi-billion-dollar venture and this and that. Like the Bored Apes got there through various steps starting almost a year ago, right? So, I mean, granted, it's crazy to see how far they've come in 9 months, but it's happened over that time through a variety of decisions and execution.
Sure. And I should elaborate. And I should say PFPs, because there have been a lot of other innovative, cool projects outside of PFPs, in my opinion, that have done a lot of cool shit that hasn't been done before. But from a PFP standpoint, when I see, Azuki come up, Clonex come up, whatever else, Maury's, all of these, for me, they all, even Cool Cats, what they're doing is they're just copying the playbook of Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah, I would agree with some. I mean, Cool Cats just dropped Cool Pets. So if you have a cool cat, make sure you claim your cool pet. You know what I mean?
Where have I seen that before?
So. Yeah, well, except that they have
I agree. These guys did define the marketplace. They defined the roadmap. They invented all this stuff. Everybody else is just copying. I agree.
Well, again, I think various projects have their place. I think not everyone can afford an ape. Not even everyone can afford a dog anymore, right?
I mean look at our choices back then. It was gutter cats and pickles and Arabian camels. Like
I know, and I'm glad I missed pickles. I'm glad I missed the camels. I
went my full on Arabian camels. I still have 35
I
of
have
those.
my gutter cat set that I love, my gold on gold gang. You know what I mean? I think the gutter cats still have room to run. I think people like them. I think they've got a cool community. I do think there's a bit of a copy kind of cat sort of vibe there, but I think it's also hard when they came out at similarly the same time. Bored Apes exploded the way they did. There's definitely like what seems to be some common stuff, but they also came up at the exact same time. But I think different projects have different benefits for different audiences. It comes down to the founders, the ability to execute, the ability to find unique sort of ways to deliver value. I mean, look at the Trippies, you know what I mean? The big casino play, and the community there is they love their Trippies. I mean, you've got Trippy owners that are not affiliated with the project doing regular spaces to talk about Trippies. I mean, that shit is what's up. I mean, that creates an opportunity for folks to do some cool stuff and get involved in a way that is driven by the community. And that only happens if you have certain things that work. So whether it's a combination of art or, roadmap or whatever, but it all comes back to community, founders creating a, sort of a foundation for folks to get invested, get involved, and all that kind of stuff. And but none of it's easy. So that's, I think, is sort of the theme of talking about running your own project and just knowing. And that's also why I give an enormous amount of respect and love and shout out to the Bored Ape Yacht Club, because the shit is not easy, and they've been able to navigate even sort of minor, controversies and things like that. But every time they've responded, every time they've been called out on this, that, or the other thing, they've been professional and respectful, and just like they've just got a super really great sensibility about things and like where they're going and how they do it. And and so shout out and credit to them. So anyway, with that, we're gonna end on that. That's a bit of a GM kind of note. You know what I mean? Mad love to everybody, especially the folks here on the panel with me. Appreciate you guys. This was great. Can't wait to ape in on another rabbit hole with y'all sooner than later. And then, as always, I want to say thank you to the audience. As I've heard JT say on the show, without y'all, there's no us. You know what I mean? So from your boy Lincoln Aperaham, from TheZoo, ape-in Productions, the rest of my homies, all my people at DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains, and sometimes down the rabbit hole to things like NFTs. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next time here on DomainSherpa. Peace out, everybody. Y'all have a great one.